And good morning. Welcome to the Out and About Show on 1590 KVGB. Focus on Stafford County. Thanks for joining us for the program today. Once again, we talk about all the great things taking place to the south of Great Bend. Today we have a pair of guests on, and they've been with us many times before. First of all, we'll be talking a little bit later with Stafford County Economic Development Director Carolyn Dunn about a lot of neat initiatives taking place. But we're going to start today with Stafford EcoDevo Program Director Sydney Blanton, who joins us via phone today from St. John. And again, I'll give you a chance, okay, Sydney, because we were talking about going on the air and you were talking smack about Wichita State, okay? I mean, and I've got to hand it to you because you are a Wichita State Shocker through and through. You graduated from there. So here is your forum to welcome everyone into the black and gold world and invite them to become Shocker fans as they take on Northern Iowa this weekend, okay? This is your chance.
All I can say is they're the best in the state, so everyone should choose Shockers.
All right. You got that off your chest now. I don't want to hear I don't want to hear anything else about it the rest of the show. But Sydney, how are things right now? I know there's a lot of things going on with Stafford County Economic Development. And first of all, I do want to ask you about your new website, and it looks very attractive. Talk about the new website and some things people can find when they go to StaffordEcoDevo.com.
Yes, it's actually really nice. We were able to form a new website through Weebly. So if you are a small business and you're trying to figure out how to get a website, that's a great source. You can go on our site and learn about our Healthy Communities work that we're doing, more about just who we are and how we got started, as well as find resources such as business listings, things to do in the community, where to work, where to play, and where to live.
What are some of the things maybe this site does that maybe your other one didn't have, the little bells and whistles?
More aesthetics. It's just a lot easier to navigate through and find your information, videos, just a lot of great stuff. It's just really easy to use. And
as a Wichita State Shocker, you were able to, did you do a lot of this as far as the website design?
Not website design. I did a lot of social media.
Okay. Very, very good. Sydney Blanton with us from Stafford County Economic Development. Sydney is the program director there. Sydney, let's go ahead and get an update on Healthy Communities. This has been an initiative that's been kind of your baby down there. And talk about where we're at on this. Looks like you got some good news from the Stafford City Council earlier this week.
Yes. So we are doing our work to help make our communities healthier and more active by changing the design of the environment around us, whether that be replacing old sidewalks with new sidewalks, creating new sidewalk areas, adding bike lanes, and so forth. So recently, we've done some surveys. We did some walkability assessments, and we've been working with an organization to help develop a map that will tell us suggestions of what we need to do for certain specific groups. So recently, we presented the map to our Stafford City Council, and they approved to add in bike sharrows for a specific route, and that will be our Main Street and our Broadway in Stafford. Sharrows are, if people are unfamiliar with sharrows, they're just bike signs. These are markings that include a bike symbol and two chevron symbols to remind motorists and bicyclists where they should go and what direction they should go.
So how soon will those be installed in St. John?
Relatively soon, if weather permits. Talks are starting now, and they approved us to get that done up to $1,000. So we're very excited about this.
They may not be doing it on Friday, okay? I'll just and there may not be a lot of bike riders that day as well. But tell me about the process and the update on Healthy Communities. First of all, why did you embark on this process?
There is a huge tie-in between the health of the community and the economics. The healthier a community is, the more economic and growth-oriented they are.
How did this process begin? And take me through some of the steps that to get where we are today with the city council agreeing to install signs and sharrows.
It's been I have been working on this about a year and a half now, and it started with the Kansas Health Foundation. They have a huge push towards making our communities healthier, and they provided this Healthy Communities grant to communities, and we were a recipient, and a part of that has been to choose a focus point, whether that be creating a healthier community by focusing on food policy or active transportation policy. And our group decided that the best way to go for our community is active transportation. And with that has taken a lot of community meetings, team meetings within our leadership team for the Healthy Communities Initiative, walkability assessments, surveys, city council meetings, and so forth.
Now, what did you learn from the walkability study? Because I know if they took that in some parts of Great Bend, it's hard to have one of those when there's no sidewalks, okay? So I can tell you that. What did you find from that study that you did in St. John?
In St. John, there's a lot of parts in St. John that just need new sidewalks, which is a difficult thing because, when the city can't afford to do it all, but then you don't want to put it back on the person, what do you do and how do you figure that out? So that's been a one big thing, but it's also the learning process through that. It's not just all about a bike lane or having correct sidewalks, but it's also seeing that there's enough shading to make sure if someone's walking a lot that they're not getting too hot, or benches for people that need to sit down and take a break.
What's on the horizon? I know this is probably one of the first steps. I know you get some many other ideas to go, but what can we expect in the future from the Healthy Communities Initiative?
We won't stop no matter how far we get. We'll just keep going. We definitely want to see bike and signs go up. So we definitely want to see more active transportation signs around the routes that we are working on. You might see more bike lanes, maybe improvements in sidewalks. My long-term dream would to have this wonderful 2-mile trail that people can just hang out and get active on.
Is this something that you're doing in the other communities, or are you just kind of starting out in St. John with this Healthy Communities?
Well, the approved sharrows is in Stafford. So we've started there, and then we're going to see if we can get sharrows approved in St. John. But St. John and Stafford are our focus right now, and then we'll hope to move into Maxville and other communities. Okay,
and that's very good because that was the Stafford City Council, and not the St. John City Council. Yes. You do have permission, okay, to correct me, because that is an open invitation I give to anyone who is who I'm talking to. But that's the Stafford City Council agreeing Monday to add sharrows to the streets in Stafford.
Yes.
Okay. Sydney Blanton with us here. Anything else before we let you go, and we'll go to a break here, that you'd like to mention on Healthy Communities before we get done here with our first segment?
I say if anyone has any ideas on what we can do to improve our community, I'm always listening. We are always looking for people to get involved in as well. So please contact me you can find my information on StaffordEcoDevo.com. Okay.
Sydney, good luck this weekend against Northern Iowa, okay?
We'll do great.
Okay. Sydney Blanton joining us here. This is Focus on Stafford County today on 1590 KVGB. We'll take a break. We'll talk with Stafford County Economic Development Director Carolyn Dunn. Right after this, you're listening to the show on 1590 KVGB. Okay, transfer.
Okay, hold on.
Good job, Sydney.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Focus on Stafford County, the Out and About show here on 1590 KVGB. Just got done talking with Sydney Blanton, Program Director for Stafford EcoDevo. Now, Economic Development Director Carolyn Dunn joining us on the program. Carolyn, you had a good month, I guess, ready to go here on the show today.
Yeah. Well, we're still working on the Port Authority. I know we've been talking about that for a year. It seems like it's a very long process, but there is a process that we go through, and the next step of that is the public meeting that's required by the state law that allows this to be created. So I wanted to tell about that. That's March 4th at the Stafford County Annex at 7 p.m. So this is the public's opportunity to either ask questions about it, register a protest. We'll just be talking about, just clarifying what this port is needed for and what our plans are for it.
Yeah, this is a big meeting. I mean, because this is going to be perfect for people who maybe have questions. We're talking about port authorities and things like that, and sometimes the process gets a little complicated. This is going to be a perfect time, a very important meeting for people who have questions to attend.
Right. One of the typical things I tend to hear is, oh, you're just doing this because you're wanting to exercise eminent domain, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. It is a part of the statute that allows a port can exercise eminent domain, but it's really, really hard to do so. It would take a whole lot longer than just 1 year, and it's not the reason that we're doing this anyway. The reason that we're doing this is because there's no existing area designated for industrial development in the county, and we want to create something. But by doing it as a port, we can also interconnect it with the rail and highway infrastructure and provide an advantage over other industrial parks. It can also provide an eligibility for different kinds of financial support through different programs through, say, KDOT, U.S. Department of Transportation. There's one that I'm creating our eligibility for that would be through the U.S. Department of Treasury. It's called the New Market Tax Credit and could be a real hook to private investment occurring in this area. There's also Economic Development Administration. But all of these things, you kind of have to have the bucket, the eligible entity to go after that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of the motivation for having a port. And then also the idea that it can create an area that is prime for expansion. So if we have a public port with this rail infrastructure that allows us to transport or transfer things from our highway to the rail or from the industrial facility to the rail, if we have it as a public entity, we can make it available to more than just one company and then have opportunities for other businesses to expand and locate. So a lot of good reasons for it, not eminent domain.
Yeah, you are just kind of like a general. You want to take over the whole county down there. So just no. That's not you at all, Carolyn. Okay, now this meeting again, March 4th, where and when again?
It is the Stafford County Annex at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And maybe even to highlight what is a transload facility. That could be one element of a port where I maybe see the biggest opportunity for that idea of expansion. A transload facility are the locations where freight is physically shifted from one mode of transportation to another. So as the common one here in a place like this is rail to truck. You might find it ocean to rail or something like that in other ports, but in Kansas what we're primarily talking about is rail to truck. So for companies that want to use rail transportation but don't have direct rail service, a transload facility can provide the means to ship goods without a rail or without the need for like railroad siding. So in smaller manufacturers, they can access a rail without having to build expensive railroad siding at their location. Or in some companies, they may not have the physical space to put railroad siding. So all these kinds of places can put their stuff on a truck, take it to the transload facility, the port, and get it on the rail where they can ship it longer distances more economically. It opens up more markets.
Yeah.
One of my examples is right here in Stafford County. Stafford County Flour Mills ships flour all over the country and has a customer called Asian Foods that buys. They say they get inquiries from this company regularly, and he says maybe 2 in 12 months of the year their price is competitive. So while we may have the opportunity as a Stafford County company to export routinely, maybe 2 out of 12 months are the prices competitive based on, just fluctuating commodity markets and fluctuating rail and or just transportation rates. But if we had access to shipping it on a rail for those longer distances, we'd probably be competitive a lot of the time. And so if we can have more of that kind of competitive advantage available to our local companies, I think that that'll be a good thing for our local businesses.
Carolyn Dunn with us, Economic Development Director for Stafford County. Okay, Carolyn, what you're talking about here not only affects Stafford County, this can be a regional type thing, can it?
I really think it could. One of the things that is kind of a new development that I'm excited about, too, is that the Kansas Department of Transportation is undergoing right now a site selection process for making some investment in transload facilities. We don't have a lot of them around the state, and the state of Kansas has looked at this and said, you know what, to make Kansas businesses more competitive, we need more of this. And so it makes sense for our state to help that along by making some public investment. And so I really want our region to compete well for that. One of the 7 criteria that they've laid out in selecting places is community involvement. So if we can all kind of work together, I'll be trying to talk with businesses not just in Stafford County, but Barton County and surrounding areas as well. If we can kind of put together a compelling proposal, I think that even if it were located just in Stafford County, it would benefit businesses within a 50-mile or so radius.
This is, I don't know, sea to shining sea. I don't know if that'd be a good example, but that is a main railroad line that goes through Stafford and St. John, isn't it? I mean,
Right. It's the BNSF main line.
Okay. All right. And that's a pretty good asset to have or have access to if possible. So
right.
That's
rail transportation is very efficient, and so when it's a main line, that's all the more that it's a good, efficient thoroughfare.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back for our final segment today of Focus on Stafford County. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Focus on Stafford County, our Out and About show presentation today on 1590 KVGB. Carolyn Dunn, Economic Development Director for Stafford County, talking about a lot of neat things. And, of course, starting with this Port Authority, there will be a meeting on March 4th at the Annex in St. John at 7 o'clock. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And we've been talking about transload facilities and what the Kansas Department of Transportation is doing right now, analysis of where to locate some of these facilities in the state. And we mentioned that this is more than just something for Stafford County. If someone has other questions, or if they're from Barton County, if they're from Kiowa County, if they're from Rice County, people can get in touch with you, right?
That would be great. You can call our office, 620-549-3527. My email is cdunn@staffordecodevo.com. Would welcome the chance to talk with anyone that's in business that thinks that having access to rail like this might be useful to them. It doesn't have to be huge quantities. If we can together have many businesses using the facility, that's what it takes to make it go. And I think, like I said, I think it really could be a good advantage for businesses regionally. This
Port Authority, once you started looking into it, and then with this new news with what KDOT's doing and things, it's starting to get a little exciting, isn't it?
I'm excited. I really think this is a unique opportunity to just try to capture some economic growth here. We're going to have to kind of fight and scrap for it, though, as a lot of things are in rural areas. If the selection looks mostly to the idea of the amount of volume, well, we're not going to compete as well as more urban areas are. But I think if we can show that we really want it and that we'll work hard to develop it, and also to make the case that the state of Kansas has overall made some policy that says we don't want rural towns to die. We've got the Rural Opportunity Zone. We're advertising broadly across the country for people to come back and locate in rural areas. Well, you've got to follow that, though, with the kind of investment that creates business and the kind of jobs that will make a living for people. So I think that the state can see some sense in that, but we are going to have to kind of band together and make our case.
Carolyn, just a quick update before we put the wrap on the show today. Any update on the housing project that's going on in Stafford right now?
We have evaluated a couple of house plans. We're, I think, going to go more toward a single-family residence this time as opposed to a duplex, because it may be a way that we can, in the short term, address rental inventory, but secondly, we may have more opportunities to sell it over time and then turn our money into new development all over again. So a little harder to do with an investment property like a duplex. So that's the main thing right now. We've made a choice to switch gears slightly. You kind of, learn as you go on some of these things. And beyond that, we are kind of finalizing the construction plans, and I hope we'll have a document ready for bids within the next 3 weeks or so.
All right, Carolyn, sounds great. And as always, it seems like you have many different pots on the stove right now, okay? You're stirring a lot of things down there and doing a fantastic job. Carolyn, thanks for being on the show today. Tell Sydney Blanton I didn't mean it, that I'd actually root for her Shockers this weekend, okay? I was just trying to be nice. Okay, so... Carolyn, have a great day, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right, Carolyn Dunn joining us here on Focus on Stafford County today. Stay tuned. News coming up next here on the Mighty 1590 KVGB.